2 minutes without hearing the Democrats talk about illegal orders, which has been much in the news as of late. So I asked General Gio, Northcom Commander, I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced, but that's the Arkansas pronunciation, whatever it is, if in his vast and storied career he had ever received an illegal order. And he said no. So General Donovan, I would like to ask you, have you ever received an illegal order?
No, Senator.
And you're a pretty high-speed Marine, as I understand it. You've been out on the front a lot in your lifetime. So from the time you were Lieutenant Donovan to the time now where you've got 3 stars and you're about to add a 4th, no one has ever given you an illegal order.
No, Senator.
General Rudd, you're a pretty high-speed soldier. I see a lot of impressive badges on your uniform. I think it's Jump Master, Military Freefall Jump Master, more commonly known as Halo. I think I even see Scuba, very rare in the Army. A Ranger Tab, a Combat Infantryman badge. In all of your vast military experience, have you ever received an illegal order?
No, Senator.
Not even from Lieutenant Rudd as quartermaster, all the way up to 3-star general, and now about to be 4-star general. No one's ever given you an illegal order.
This may look like a routine confirmation exchange, but it's actually a stress test of how Americans understand military power and civilian authority. What's really being tested here is whether institutions built on law and restraint are being judged by evidence or by political suspicion. This raises broader questions about how trust is manufactured or undermined in public life, especially when uniformed service becomes a rhetorical weapon. In this video, we'll break down what this exchange reveals about command accountability, the role of legal safeguards, and why claims of systemic misconduct demand more than repetition. They demand proof.
Senator Cotton.
Gentlemen, thank you for your lifetime of service to our nation, and thanks to your family for putting up with your lifetime of service, and to some members of your family who are also wearing the uniform. We appreciate what you've done for our country. Congratulations on your nominations as well. I apologize, I had to step out for a few other commitments, and I can't get back and be here for fewer than 2 minutes without hearing the Democrats talk about illegal orders, which has been much in the news as of late. So I asked General Gio, Northcom Commander, I'm not quite sure how it's pronounced, but that's the Arkansas pronunciation, whatever it is, if in his vast and storied career he had ever received an illegal order. And he said no. So General Donovan, I would like to ask you, have you ever received an illegal order?
No, Senator.
And you're a pretty high-speed Marine, as I understand it. You've been out on the front a lot in your lifetime. So from the time you were Lieutenant Donovan to the time now where you've got 3 stars and you're about to add a 4th, no one has ever given you an illegal order.
No, Senator.
General Rudd, you're a pretty high-speed soldier. I see a lot of impressive badges on your uniform. I think it's Jump Master, Military Freefall Jump Master, more commonly known as Halo. I think I even see Scuba, very rare in the Army. A Ranger Tab, a Combat Infantryman badge. In all of your vast military experience, have you ever received an illegal order?
No, Senator.
Not even from Lieutenant Rudd as quartermaster, all the way up to 3-star general, and now about to be 4-star general. No one's ever given you an illegal order.
No, Senator.
Well, it seems to me that our military does a very good job of training our troops from the time they enlist as privates or the time they commission as lieutenants, all the way up to your level and to the commander-in-chief, not to issue illegal orders. Or, especially at your level, when you have lawyers hanging around you all the time, to seek their counsel, as anyone would. I bet, as some of the politicians on this dais understandably seek legal counsel in affairs related to their job. So I'm glad to hear from so many of our military's senior leaders that our military has done such a good job of ensuring that our troops don't receive an illegal order. General Donovan, I'd like to return to a topic that I also know has been addressed, and this is the presence of such a large number of forces in the Southcom area of responsibility, and whether that drains forces from other regions like PACOM and CENTCOM. Although I have to say, I think the people asking those questions wouldn't like those forces to be employed in PACOM or CENTCOM either. It's more of a gotcha question. But understanding, General Donovan, that any combatant commander in any combatant command's answer for how many forces he needs is always going to be more, please. Could you explain a little bit about how, if confirmed, you'll manage the needs of maintaining security with the proper force posture in your area of responsibility, along with those others around the world, especially in the old world at UCOM, CENTCOM, and PACOM?
Senator, I'm very aware after 3 years at the Pentagon of the push-pull between each of the geographic commands and the spreading out our very, in many ways, our very high-demand, low-density assets, a carrier strike group, nuclear submarine, and marine amphibious unit, expeditionary unit. So very aware of that natural tensions that's there, but I pledge, if confirmed, to work with the Joint Staff to ensure that Southcom's needs are registered and met. And if we do lose assets, what are the other capabilities we could bring to bear, from other hard power type assets, physical assets, to increase resourcing for some of the softer power to counter the PRC malign influence in the region?
Thank you again, gentlemen, for your lifetime of service.
It was a deceptively simple question, delivered with calm precision that cut through the noise of the hearing room. Senator Tom Cotton leaned forward and asked, plainly and without theatrics, "Have you ever received an illegal order?" And one by one, the generals before him answered the same way. No hesitation, no qualifiers, no ambiguity, just a firm, unequivocal no. In that moment, something important happened. Not a dramatic confrontation, not a shouting match, but a quiet dismantling of a narrative that has hovered over Washington in recent years, the idea that the American military is routinely placed in impossible moral positions, pressured to follow directives that violate the law or the Constitution. Cotton didn't argue this point. He didn't need to. He let the record speak through the voices of men who had spent decades inside the system, rising from junior ranks to the highest levels of command. These were not theoretical leaders. These were officers who had served across administrations, across conflicts, across eras of political turbulence. From the time they wore their first uniform to the moment they sat before the Senate as nominees for 4-star command, their testimony was consistent. The system, imperfect as it may be, trains its people not to carry out unlawful directives. It reinforces restraint. It embeds legal counsel at every level. And it demands accountability, not just from those who give orders, but from those entrusted to carry them out. That matters because in the modern political environment, words like illegal order are often used as rhetorical weapons. They are invoked to suggest institutional decay, moral collapse, or hidden corruption within the ranks. But what Cotton exposed was something far less sensational and far more consequential, a culture built on process, discipline, and an understanding that authority is not absolute. In a time when many Americans feel disconnected from institutions, distrustful of leadership, and unsure where lines are drawn, this exchange reaffirmed that at least one cornerstone of national power still understands its limits. It also revealed something else, the widening gap between political theater and operational reality. As Cotton noted, the fixation on hypothetical wrongdoing often comes from those farthest removed from the chain of command. The generals in that room weren't speaking from ideology. They were speaking from lived experience, from decades of navigating complex decisions with legal advisors nearby, weighing risks, and understanding that their legitimacy depends on adherence to law as much as to mission. And then, almost seamlessly, the conversation shifted from legality to logistics, from moral authority to global responsibility. Cotton turned to the question of force posture, acknowledging the constant tension between geographic commands, the push and pull of limited resources across an increasingly unstable world. Southcom, CENTCOM, PACOM. Regions separated by oceans, yet competing for the same finite capabilities. Here again, the exchange cut through political simplifications. The nominee explained what rarely makes headlines. That modern command is not just about deploying ships or units, but about balancing hard power with influence, presence with partnership. High-demand assets are stretched thin. Every decision to reinforce one region carries consequences elsewhere. And leadership today means understanding not just where forces are placed, but how influence is countered, how stability is maintained, and how credibility is preserved without overextension. This is where the hearing revealed its deeper truth. Governance, when done seriously, is not about slogans or moral posturing. It is about trade-offs, about recognizing constraints, about acknowledging that power, if not exercised carefully, can weaken the very system it seeks to protect. The generals didn't promise easy solutions. They pledged coordination. They pledged judgment. They pledged respect for process. In an era when confidence in leadership is fragile, that distinction matters, because real authority is not loud. It does not announce itself with certainty detached from consequence. It operates within frameworks. It listens to counsel, and it understands that strength is measured not only by capability, but by restraint. What this hearing ultimately exposed was not embarrassment or dysfunction or failure. It exposed something far rarer in modern politics: institutional memory, a reminder that some systems are designed not to bend with every political wind, but to endure beyond them. The military officers who testified were not defending personalities or parties. They were defending a structure, one built to ensure that law governs force, not the other way around. And that is a lesson worth paying attention to. At a time when trust is eroding, when accusations are easier than evidence, and when outrage often replaces understanding, moments like this matter. They remind us that accountability does not come from speculation. It comes from testimony, from records, from individuals willing to speak plainly under oath. The question wasn't just whether illegal orders exist, it was whether the system is designed to prevent them. And according to those who know it best, it is. In the end, this hearing was not about mocking opponents or scoring points. It was about drawing a line between rhetoric and reality, between fear and fact, between narratives that divide and institutions that, quietly and imperfectly, still hold. The strength of a republic is not found in constant accusation. It is found in systems that withstand it. If you believe these moments deserve deeper scrutiny and honest analysis, support our work to expose the truth. Subscribe to Liberty Report USA.